Ciao, buongiorno ragazzi. Welcome along to the Inter Worldwide podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Anthony, and I want to give a big shout out to my guest today, Christian Rivas. How you doing, bro? That's it, man. Nice. For me over here, it's buongiorno from Sydney. So we're talking with a little bit of a positive attitude today. The pessimism was real going into this one, Kievo, but we have defeated the Flying Donkeys, or should I say the Flying Down Donkeys, relegated already, playing a host of their players that will probably represent them in Serie B next season. But it did end 2-0 in the end, and although it didn't look like Kievo was ever going to break the Inter barrier, so to speak, just shout out to the brick wall of Skriniar, who is responsible for the 17 clean sheets we now have this season. Whew, and Handanovic as well. There's a good one for you. But yeah, it was good to see the victory. Not as comfortable though. Christian Rivas did watch it as well. What did you think of the game, bro?
I mean, I thought it was your typical Inter game against a team like KV. They put up that brick wall, and we just tried to break the wall down, and we actually did. I think Miranda did a very good job today. Um, Defensively, we're built with a few errors. I would say that Skriniar and Miranda both had an error each, but at the end of the day, Handanovic saved our ass, and we're off to the next one. 3 points in Naples, and we're good as gold.
That's it, man. The season's objective will be upheld, and that is all important of qualifying for the UEFA Champions League. Now, we do look forward to Naples, and, well, actually, no, before we go into Naples, we'll talk just a little bit more about Kiev. Or anybody that stood out for you today, Christian, and anybody that didn't stand out, there was a few conflicting opinions on Perisic. What did you think of him?
I thought he did fine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
People are
Yep.
going to say that I like him, so they're going to be like, oh, you're being biased. I think he did okay because he tracked back well. He got his shots off. They were saying that he should have scored that one goal where I forgot who it was that shot it, saved, and he was there for to pounce on the rebound. But just a great save from the cable keeper at that angle that Perisic was. Being a striker, I'll tell you, it's hard, man. You just can't volley it. You
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
get you try to get as much of a touch as you can, and that's what he did. I think to me though, the player of the match for me was Poetano. I really like the kid, bro. He's really such a good talent. And thing is, he's young, so he has a lot of room to improve and grow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I talked about a bit today as well, man. He is really, really good. And I'd like to see him play it a little bit more centrally as well to see what he can do there. But he does have that right side cut in down packed pretty well. Perisic today I thought was okay. The look on his face says it all. I think that he knows he wants to depart ways with us next season. And we'll talk a little bit about how Conte comes in later on and if he fits in that formation. But Perisic to me does look like a guy who's coming to his end of his Inter career. His attitude just doesn't look all there, but he is such a talent at the end of the day, and he was the one that grabbed the goal as well. But my man of the match, 100% agree with Rivas, was definitely Matteo Politano. Just that little bit of creative spark that we need, something that we do need in the center of the attacking part of the third to complement him.
Ninja Nangolan was another one that stuck out to me. Vecino and Valero were kind of garbage in the midfield, and to see Ninja fighting back for balls and he just grabbing the game by the balls. You know what I mean? Like saying they're like, no, we need to be surging forward, fighting back for tackles, going back, winning the ball back, sliding, getting it, and coming back on the attack. It's just nice to see. It's refreshing. I haven't seen a
Yeah.
player do that in a while outside of him.
Yeah, I'd have to agree as well. In terms of Spalletti and his performance in the match, did you agree with the substitutions? Did you like what you saw there?
Yeah, I agree with it. That Vecino change was necessary.
Mm.
Bro, it was necessary. Poetano as well because he came off limping.
Yeah.
All the changes to me were spot on. Icardi out as well. He kind of had So my thing about Icardi's performance today is, I like that he was in the spaces. He was finding those gaps in the defense, but his finishing was so abysmal.
Oh
You know what
man,
I'm
wasn't
saying?
it?
His head wasn't there at all. Like, you can tell he wasn't even thinking. He's not even thinking about playing for this club anymore. It's
No
just so
chance.
blatantly obvious, and it's bad because a kid of his talent, he has a potential to be something great. but he has somebody holding him back, and we're not gonna really say the name, but we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah. What rating would you give Icardi in this match?
Uh, 4.5, borderline 5. Because again, he
Mm.
did find spaces. He did get his head on some balls. He did take a few, good passes, like that pass he got Perisic, where Perisic had the nice curler and just hit off the post. It was a very nicely weighted ball by Icardi. You got to give him credit when it's due.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely as well. Well, it's just good to get the 3 points, and now moving ahead to Napoli, of course, it's going to be a huge one. Those 3 points basically brings us with an opportunity where we don't actually have to win again this season. We can actually draw to Napoli and draw at Empoli, although that wouldn't 100% guarantee it. But I like the idea of going to a tough team like Napoli at the Sao Paulo and having an actual go. You know what I mean, Christian, man? Because taking on Chievo at home, the anxiety's there, and now it's so important because towards the end of the week, all our rivals didn't drop points. They gained points this week. They all won. But we're going to go to Napoli next week, and we're going to have to actually take it to them rather than have to sit there and be like, all right, this is an expected 3 points. Are you excited about Napoli? What do you think?
Well, honestly, I think we wrap up the season. I think Napoli at this point, they don't have nothing to play for. In my opinion, their season was a bust. Even though statistically Ancelotti is at the same place as where Sadi was on his first season, literally almost mirror. But to me, Ancelotti was there to take them to the next level, not to give the same exact, quota that Sadi was given. So to me,
Yeah.
that season's a bust. And I'm pretty sure the Napoli players know it. And I think they're just at this point, they just want to get the season over with. They look at Inter as a team that's hungry and they don't want to risk any injuries right before summer vacation. And I think they kind of let off the steam. And I think we just beat them 1-0 in a really close fight.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd love to do that. I'd love to get the 3 points there and wrap it up because, we've got Empoli after that and they are fighting relegation and they're doing bits as well. They won away from home against Sampdoria this week to keep the pressure on Genoa. They're only 1 point behind Genoa now, so kudos to Empoli for keeping up the good fight, and we'll take it to them on the last day as well. In terms of what I think about Napoli, look, I'm just wary of the fact that Napoli can throw their first 11 on and just the talent's there on the pitch. You know what I mean, Rivas, man? They got a good team. They got a great team and they can come up at any point with so many of their stars. But I'd have to agree with you with the most part about Ancelotti. Not only that, Sarri actually took Juve to the punch last season to the point where, there was that the Koulibaly red card the match after they played them and beat them, which was a little bit dubious. So yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Ancelotti didn't take them to the next level. I think it's 2 steps backwards for Napoli this season. Just going on, Juventus, how they were beaten 2-0 at Roma. That's the only other match we're going to really discuss. What did you make of that one, Rivas? Did you think Juventus just basically haven't turned up since the Ajax dumping, haven't they?
No, honestly, it's not even that. Honestly, watching the match, because I watched a good chunk of it. Bro, fucking keeper was on fire, son.
Yeah.
Let's just give credit where it's due. Juve played their little game. Honestly, I don't think this Juve is a great team. They played their game. It's not like they laid down for Roma. They actually took it to Roma. They just had an awesome keeper that made a lot of key saves.
Yeah. Well, now that Roma's back in it, you got to give some credit to Ranieri as well, bro. I mean, he came in and as the man to just basically take care for the rest of the season. At one point, they looked almost dead and gone, and here they are pressing hard. Do you reckon Roma can still make it, bro?
Nah, I don't think they make it. Honestly, it's too late of a surge, bro.
It is.
No, it's too late. If Inter wins next week, they cement their place in Champions League and qualify. I also think if Atalanta win, it's just too far and gone. On the tiebreaker, if Atalanta, Milan, and Roma all tie, Milan goes through.
Yeah. What about the Atalanta-Juve match? What do you predict for that?
I think Atalanta beats them.
Me too, bro. Me too.
Honestly, I see Inter and Atalanta securing the qualification next week. I see him just getting it done. I see Milan just gassing out.
Yeah, that would make me happy, to be honest. We're going to talk a little bit about Spalletti, then we're going to jump into your questions because this morning some questions were flowing through really nicely, or last night, wherever you were. So Spalletti was quoted after the match. When he was interviewed and asked about Conte, he said, Marotta is right to look for what's best for Inter. Sounds like the words of a man who knows that he is going to be leaving at the end of the season. And I just want to come out and say it now. If Spalletti, who always has conducted himself like a gentleman, yeah, he hasn't had the backing of most of the fans in the agreement because of some of his decisions, and that's fair enough. But if he does end up going out like a gentleman like this, he's got my respect, and he's done exactly what he was meant to do for this club. He was hired to stabilize the club and put it back on the European map to an extent, and that's what he has done if he can get back-to-back seasons in the Champions League. Rivas, would you agree? And what do you have to say about Spalletti?
Honestly, I don't hate Spalletti. I don't. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach. And the thing is, it's the same shit same thing I told you before. He's just here to guide Inter to pretty much rebuild themselves. Honestly, I appreciate him for all the drama he dealt with this season. I'm still upset because I was at that PSV game and he played for a draw instead of a win. So yeah, I'm still bitter about that, but I don't hate the guy. I respect the guy for what he did.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Look, he does look like he's going to go, and the Conte rumours they've just gained so much traction over the last few days. I was worried this is going to be a cloud hanging over the team, and the media loves to gas Inter out and make them out as if anything can make them crumble. So I got major trust issues as an Inter fan, that's for sure. We're going to spend the rest of this podcast, and it's not going to be a long one. We're going to wrap it up pretty shortly today, but we're going to focus on some of the questions that you sent in post Kievo, because there were plenty of
questions.
Yes, sweet.
Just on the questions, are any of them talking about the possible formation that will run under Conte?
Actually, no.
All right, well, that's something I'd like to discuss too. So if we could squeeze it in there,
let's discuss. Let's squeeze it in.
All right. Well, honestly, I think it all depends on what happens in the first month of the transfer window.
Damn, see, it's got to be Barella, in my opinion, man. It's just got to be Barella, man.
I agree that it should be. It's got to be one of those two big names, bro. In my opinion, I would love to get both, but we're not getting both.
Nah, we can't get both. It'll cost us too much, man. It'd break 95 million.
Dude, I think it would be more because I think one Rakitic, we could get him for 50, and it's not going to be a tuggle or a tug of war with anybody. I think just Barca's in the position where they want to get rid of him, so they're going to settle for maybe 40 to 50. Now, Barella, it's a different story. He's got a lot of suitors. You got to deal with Napoli. You got to deal with Inter. With Milan, you got to deal with Juve.
Chelsea.
All these other teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, PSG, all these other teams are fighting for him too. So, in my opinion, Rakitic is a safer bet, bro. Just saying in terms of we're not going to have to fight off suitors. According to the media, they're saying that it's pretty much done. Wasn't it they said Di Marzio reported that the contacts between Barca is in an advanced stage and it's pretty much wrapped up?
Yeah, but then you've got also Rakitic saying, and his agent saying that no one's spoken to anyone, and then there's other media outlets reporting that Barella is an Inter fan and that it was agreed a long time ago. So, as Inter fans, we never know what's done when it's done.
I would love for Barella. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. I would love to have another young Italian beast in the midfield. But the problem is, I haven't heard what's the guy, Romano or Di Marzio really say that he's Inter's yet. All they said is that there's negotiations, but there's a lot of suitors that are negotiating. And it's in Cagliari's ballpark. They do what they want. Who's going to offer the most money?
Yeah, pretty much.
In my opinion, I don't think we got him. I hope we do, but at the end of the day, it's business.
So right now, Rivas is got Handanovic, Skriniar, Godin, and De Vrij with Asamoah and Danilo D'Ambrosio as the wing backs, and a three-man midfield of Rakitic, Brozovic, Nainggolan. Looks good. Are you sure before we go on you wouldn't replace Asamoah or D'Ambrosio with maybe one upgraded wing back?
The thing is this: they say we got Danilo, but to me, Danilo's not. He's not sound enough
Nah.
defensively to run a 3-5-2 with him. He could come in as a substitute, yes, but he's not. He's never really played a 3-5-2 in any of his clubs. Yo, D'Ambrosio did it at Torino. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he knows how to run that formation, and I'm sure Conte's gonna love a player like him that just sacrifices himself, works hard, and doesn't complain. You know, he's not gonna sit there and pull a Cancelo and cry to the media about being asked to play on the left.
Absolutely, man. And what else was there? So then after that, what completes the 3-5-2 for you, man? The all important up front top two, because that is one of the questions that one of our fans did ask.
All right. Well, honestly, for me, who I would prefer, are you asking that? Or are you asking what I think and who I think it's going to be?
Well, no, we'll stay with what you think because you thought it was Rakitic. So yeah, what you think?
What I think, I'm thinking is going to be Lukaku and Martinez.
Wow. Big man, yeah. A big man who can help him out. Big man who can, accommodate for the lack of physicality for Martinez. Someone who can knock the ball down. I see it. I see it.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people are talking about no to Lukaku. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the guy, but looking at it from a coaching standpoint, it makes sense. There's one thing that Icardi really lacks, and that's physicality. He's not physical. Yo, Lukaku's big, he's strong, he's tall, he's a monster. You know what I mean? Like, it would suit him actually. But who I would prefer, honestly, I'd prefer Poyetano.
Really? Up top in a two? All right. It could work, man. I got a lot of faith in Matteo, man. I got a lot of faith in the kid.
Yo, when we seen him play as a number 10 this season, his movements were crisp, cutting in, shooting from outside the box. Like, I'm curious if we could transform him into a real false nine. But then again, thought it was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That really does move into the questions that the fans are going to ask. So let's jump right into them, should we, bro?
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm really interested in this. This is some stuff I really want to do.
All right, sweet as. So Kevin Birch, shout out to Kevin. He says, have people in their pursuit of Conte not remembered Lippi and Tardelli and the Ranieri episodes with their ties to Juve and what they did at Inter? Also, just before we answer that, Hutomo from Japan, I think, asks, do you think hiring a coach from an ex-big rival is a wise choice? So 2 questions basically asking the same thing. Do the past ties of Juventus bother you in terms of acquiring Antonio Conte as a manager? I'm going to answer it first, Christian. Is that all good with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. It does not bother me one bit, to be honest. Antonio Conte has a huge ego attached to him. We know that very well. So this is a man who likes to win. And everywhere that he has gone, he has at least been able to invigorate a level of motivation or level of application that Spalletti has severely lacked, or that he is failing to bring to the Inter dressing room at the moment. These players that are there at the moment, a lot of them need a big kick up the ass, to be honest. And I think Conte is the perfect manager to do that. And that is why I'm definitely behind him coming in. Financially, Alessandro mentioned it on last week's podcast. I don't think that financial fair play plays a huge role in acquiring a manager. I don't think it matters at all. So it'll just be the funds from Suning. So that's all I know, and that's all I'm going to say about it. What about you, Christian?
Honestly, I don't have an issue with it. Honestly, like you said, he has an ego, but also Conte, he wants to prove himself. He's a winner. It is what it is as far as going and getting coaches that have ties to X teams. Look at Leonardo, bro. I would give I wouldn't say my left, maybe my right nut for Leonardo again. I like the guy. He did excellent with us. So it's not always our rivals coaches that do bad with us, because you can even sit there and say Spalletti, even though I really don't consider Roma a big rival, they're still technically rivaling us for Champions League. And he came and he did his job, bro. At the end of the day, These guys are professionals. And don't forget that right now, Conte hates Agnelli and he hates Juve for how they did him. So
Yeah.
he has a beef and a bone to pick with these guys. And what better way than to going to their arch rivals and winning a league title with them? That's pretty much tell them fuck off.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. That's great. That's exactly what I want to see. All right, moving on to another question. We go. What did you guys think about Cedric against Kiev this morning? I actually thought he was pretty good. He seems like a quality player. Would you sign him at the end of the season? And this comes from Vignesh. Christian, you can go first on the Cedric question, man.
No,
No.
I wouldn't. I
Tell
just
me
think
why.
that his play this season, he hasn't played much. So, like, honestly, and when he hasn't impressed. To me, he's another Cancelo. Everybody's blinded by his flair and his offensive abilities. Yeah, he can attack, but he can't defend. At the end of the day, I'm looking at it from a defensive standpoint because he is a defender. A lot of you guys fail to realize that he's a defender. He's not a starting winger. He's
Mm,
playing defense. So if
mm.
you cannot defend, I am not willing to splurge money on you because that's a position I'm hiring you for.
Yep.
Also, a lot of people fail to realize Danilo D'Ambrosio is top of the table. I mean, top of the league as a fullback for most assists right now. So you
Yep.
can't sit there and say he doesn't assist. He also scores. So he brings you the offensive capabilities with the defending. He's really stepped his game up, and right now, all I see is him moving up. He hasn't regressed. He's only been progressing since he's been at Inter. Every player we brought in to replace him, they never do it. And I don't expect Danilo to come from City to bench him either. He's going to be on the bench. He's going to be a good bench player to fill in for him.
That would mean that we'd have to make way at some point with Dalbert. Is Dalbert finished for you, man? I mean, I haven't seen him play minutes in a while. I think he's way down the pecking order, and it's a shame because we paid a fair bit for him, man. That's a fair bit of money down the drain. We've got to coop some of that back up, but it'll probably go down as a negative on the books now.
Yeah, he's done. Honestly, I had high hopes for Dalbert. I never really thought he was going to do that much because the transition from the French league to the Serie A is difficult, bro. If you just look at a lot of the players that came, Kondogbia, a lot of these guys, bro, they're great talents, but transitioning from French to the Serie A, which is a very tactical league and defensive league where you don't get as much space, it's hard.
Mm.
I don't blame Dalbert. He'd be a good bench player, but the problem is we're expecting him to take over at some point. And this is year 2 or 3 down the drain now?
Yeah, I think it's only been, oh shit, has it been 3 years already? No, it's got to be
It's
2.
2. It's 2.
But it's the end of the second season, so next season will be his 3rd season, and he's moved down the pecking order, not up.
Yep.
So he's done.
In my opinion, I don't get it. Like, honestly, we still got to replace Dalbert. Even if we bring in, if we keep Cedric, it's going to be 3 right backs. Even though Danilo can play on the left, D'Ambrosio can play on the left. Bro, it's just there's no solid left back besides Asamoah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair play, man. All right, next question is from Lewis. Thank you, Lewis, for sending it in. According to the rumor that Inter needs to make about 40 million to meet the financial fair play agreement before July, who do you sell off and why? That's a good question. Thanks for asking it, man. I'll go first. This is a question that's going to come down to 1 or 2 names, and it's either Perisic or Mauro Icardi. And I guess it's actually going to come down to the conversations that Marotta has with Conte, and it depends on the tactical implementation, because I don't think Perisic wants to be here. I don't think Icardi wants to be here. I'm sure Christian agrees with both. So I'm not too sure really where we go from there in terms of selling either one. I'm not too sure if Conte wants to keep one or the other as well. So if it was up to me, out of the 2, I would sell Icardi. I would sell Icardi because the bridges are burned based on the disrespect that was shown. His wife is a complete liability, and I want her nowhere near around here. She needs to pack her bags and leave and become someone else's problem. And of course, at the end of the day, I think he's replaceable. I don't think he's the all-around perfect striker that we need, just based on his attitude. And Perisic as well. even though I say I want him to go, and I kind of do want Perisic, I would say I want both gone. If Conte was to come in, he fits that left wing back position almost better than anyone else in Europe, Christian. You reckon?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's the big kicker for me, man. Like you can't get a manager like Conte in who prides himself on that kind of formation and go, oh yeah, Ivan Perisic is here. Let's get him out the door.
Yeah, honestly, bro, I've been saying this. I don't think Perisic should go. I think the main reason he wanted to go was because he was tired of all the drama with the diva Icardi. You know, it's like I said before on the podcast, like if you're in a workplace and you got an employee that you don't get along with and it becomes a hostile work environment, would you want to stay? No. So, I mean, if Icardi leaves, I don't think he'd want to leave. Maybe he does. Maybe he wants to go and see if he can make some change over in England while he still has value. You never know. And I don't blame him. I appreciate what he did for the club. Honestly, it's like I said, for me, I really think we're going 3-5-2. But having Perisic, it gives us the flexibility of going 3-4-3 as well.
Yeah.
It's just, I really think it's 3-5-2 is going to be the new formation. You know, and what I was saying before, it's going to depend on the first month. It's going to tell us. If they get rid of Perisic, that tells me it's 3-5-2.
Yeah.
Even though Perisic would be ideal to play in that left back position over Asamoah, it just tells me at that point that Inter's done with wingers.
Yeah.
You're going to see Getabaldi, Perisic leave, and Candreva leave all in the same window, leaving just Poyetano, Toro, and that's all the attackers I really see us staying with, you know?
Yeah, but that actually perfect that you finished on that because that moves us into our next question, which is from Stefano. I'm not too sure who that is or where that's from. Could be one of the boys from Sydney or Melbourne. But he says, we've got a couple of attackers returning from loan next season. That we do, Mr. Rivas. And they're pretty exciting ones, man. They've got flair for days. Gabigol comes back from Brazil and Jan Caramon returns from France. I'm pretty excited about those two coming back, man. If we're not going to use them, that's actually a fair bit of money sitting in a bank account waiting for us as well. Out of the two, I would keep Jan Caramon. I was impressed with his time here at us. I would keep Caramon. I know he's had a few disciplinary issues, but they've both had a couple of attitude problems as well. But I would take Jan Caramon. What about you?
I would take Gabigol back.
Really?
You know why?
Why?
Because we're getting away from wingers and we're going to a 3-5-2. Gabigol's a striker.
Yeah.
He
is a natural-born striker.
If we can't really... So you got to look at the bigger picture at this point, going back to the formation. If we get rid of all our wingers and keep Poyetano, because Poyetano can play that false 9, and he can either sub in for Toro or sub in for Lukaku, we also need one more sub, hence Gabigol. Bring back Gabigol. See if he's worth anything. Give him a run because he did bring some flair in the few games he played. I would give him a run. We paid a hefty amount for him. At this point, you see what you're getting. Caramon, he has suitors. We can get money for him, so let's sell him.
I'd be happy to keep both. Bro. To be honest, I reckon they could both make it here, but I just don't see Inter doing that financially.
I don't because again, we're going away from wingers at this point. Like, bro, just to me looking at it right now, we're not gonna sign. We're not gonna redeem Getabaldi. You know, that's out the window. We're gonna try and get rid of Perisic. That's another winger out the window. We're trying to get rid of Candreva, another winger out the window.
3 wingers.
So now that leaves us with just Toro and Poyetano. You know? So I could see us getting Lukaku and Gabigol, and we finish it at those 4.
Yeah.
We sell Pinamonte. We sell Caramon. Because Pinamonte is on loan, if I'm not mistaken, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Would you want to sell him out completely?
I would loan him out, or I'd sell him with a buyback clause.
Absolutely. Get that buyback clause in there for sure.
So, I mean, like I said, just looking at it and the way Conte fields his teams, I really see a 3-5-2. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking all these wingers leave at once, and then we go back to playing with 2 strikers.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds good to me.
I mean, does it make sense?
It does. It makes very, very good sense, to be honest. But you do want some of those players that can adapt to different formations and play with a little bit of depth. So if we were given the situation in the season that we do switch from a 3-5-2 to a 3-4-3, I guess Gabigol is someone who can adapt on the wings as well as Politano. So, your idea of using Politano as a forward in a 3-5-2, I completely agree with that because he's already so used to that right-hand side, bro. He would be very, very adaptable. He'd be our most adaptable player in the front line for sure.
Yeah, well, he's done it at Sassuolo too. He's played there in a couple of games before. So it's not something unusual. Like I said, to me, I'm just looking at it from a coaching standpoint and what I would want for my team and the type of coaching tactics that Conte runs.
It has been 2 years now, hasn't it? It's a while.
And he still wants to come back.
All right, absolutely. Well, you never know. We could just give him that other chance. Looking to wrap this up now, nice and short. Today we'll bring you a longer podcast next time around. But before we go, Napoli, Inter next week. Rivas, prediction?
Like I said before earlier, 1-0, maybe 2-1.
Who scores?
Nangolan.
I was going to say that too.
Or Politano.
I was going to say 9-goal line as well. I don't think we'll get the win. I really, really do hope so, but I see it being 1-1, 9-goal line and Insigne. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Rivas is right. Christian, thanks for joining me, bro. It's been a pleasure. Short and sweet.
All right, dude. Take care.
My man, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining in to the Inter Worldwide podcast. We'll be at you with more podcast content and video content soon. Check out the website and the socials, links in the description. Grazie, Forza Inter, ciao.